Hello my friends and welcome to the video. So here we have episode number 2 of our 325 iX M52 turbo build. So in this video we're going to be replacing the center support bearing in the drive shaft, because when you swap out a 24 valve you do need a different drive shaft, and the center support bearing that comes with it does not work, so we swap that out. We also do get a new turbo housing. I plumbed the entire fuel system with a flex fuel sensor as well as the fuel pressure regulator. We get the limited slip differential in, and what else? Well, you guys are just gonna have to find out, but hope you guys are enjoying the series. If you are, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and here we go. Okay, so when doing a 24 valve swap, you need a drive shaft from a 98 328 IS. That's where I got mine. But you need to change the center support bearing. So this is the one from the E36. We have to use the one from an E30. So I ended up just purchasing a brand new one, and I'm just gonna show you guys how I swap it out. And I think I'm just gonna let the footage play and just kind of ASMR style, because it's kind of cool. And there we have it. New center support bearing is in and drive shaft is all set, ready to go. I also had to fabricate my own transmission crossmember, because on the iX models it is all-wheel drive and there is no mounting point for the ZF transmission. So as you can see here, I did weld bolts onto a plate from the inside of the floor pan and had them come through. So this is nice and solid, nice and sturdy, and it also gives me some more room to tuck the exhaust up so that way it's not too low. I'm also redoing the entire fuel system in the car. So these are the stock lines that come on the E30, and I'm going with a really nice system, so everything's going to be customized. This is a Peterson fuel filter, so I did drill some rib nuts into the car, mounted up the fuel filter here, fits nice and neat, nice and tucked as well. And I'm going with PTFE braided line, and so I did have to put all these fittings onto the line as well. So this is from the factory gas tank going into the fuel filter. Alright guys, so this here is my flex fuel sensor. So what this does, it basically tells the computer the grade of the fuel, like how much ethanol is in it, because I plan to use E85 as well as pump gas, and different gas stations have different grades of fuel. So this will help the car run as consistent as possible. And I got these fittings here, so that way I can connect my AN fittings and everything's nice and neat, as well as very easy to connect as well. So these go on the end here like so, and then also this is the harness, clips right in, and I do have a bracket that's coming pretty soon that's going to mount right to the body of the car. And here we have it. Okay, so I just drilled a hole in the bottom of the floor pan, so that way I can run these wires through. And what I'm going to do, instead of running a grommet with just these wires on the outside, I'm going to take this vacuum hose and fit the wires inside here, so that way they stay nice and protected from rain, sand, dirt, all that stuff. And there we go. So it's going to clip on to the connector like this, and then it's going to go just like that, angled up into the car. And then this is just gonna clip in like so. All right, so that's how it's basically gonna look. I am still waiting for a bracket to mount it up, but I wanted to make it nice and neat. Also, I have to run a fuel line from the fuel filter to the flex fuel sensor, And then from the flex fuel sensor all the way up to the fuel rail. And then also back here, I need one more line. This is the fuel return. So this line is gonna come all the way down, basically parallel with this entire fuel line here. It'll go nice and neat, tucked through here, all the way up to the front of the engine bay as well. So stay tuned. And mounting bracket did come in, so it did more rib nuts into the floor pan, and this is how I mounted it up, nice and neatly tucked. And this is the feed line from the fuel rail, so I'm running that back down to the flex fuel sensor. Again, nice and neatly tucked towards the frame rail, and that goes towards the fuel rail. So I got one more line to finish the fuel feed system. So it's going to go from the fuel filter to the flex fuel sensor, and that is where the fuel delivery comes from the tank to the fuel rail. All right, and here's the new complete fuel system. So it comes from the tank into the fuel filter, from the fuel filter into the flex fuel sensor, from the flex fuel sensor all the way up to the fuel rail. So this is where it comes up from the bottom into the fuel rail. It delivers the fuel to the fuel injectors. The extra fuel comes out of that hose and comes all the way down into the fuel pressure regulator. That regulates how much pressure the fuel system has, and then goes back down all the way following the feed line. It goes all the way back to the tank to return the extra fuel. And that is my brand new fuel system. Okay, so since this car is a 325iX, it is the all-wheel drive model. The whole front subframe is different, like I mentioned in the last video. So not everything fits exactly like all the other E30s. So having an issue with my turbo, the turbo housing on my Turbonetics F135 is a T4. So it hits the strut tower housing, which on the regular E30 models, they're set back a little bit. So these are a little more up front. So the turbo housing is in the way, and the manifold is a Rapid Spool Industries. So the turbo housing is not supposed to be that close to the strut tower. So literally everything on this car has been like, everything has to be fully customized, because again, it's not the regular E30 model. It was all-wheel drive. I'm converting it to rear wheel. In my opinion, that's gonna be more fun. But yeah, so I did order a turbo housing, and let's see if this works. All right, we got the package. Let's open it up. I think it's gonna work. You can tell by the shape of the housing. I think so. But then does it fit the turbo? All right, so here is the housing. Let's see if it fits. All right, moment of truth. It works. Yes, hell yeah. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys the other turbo housing and how it does not fit. Here we go. As you can see, this turbo housing is bigger. It's still an 84, but this one does not fit because, again, it's so massive. So I'm hoping that this F135 bolts up to this housing here. Let's give it a try. All right, so you guys can see the difference in the housing. So this one is a twin scroll 84 AR, and then this one is just an open 84 as well. So look at the difference there. But this should allow the turbo to fit. All right, here are both the housings. One on the right is what I'm gonna be using, hopefully. So all right, let's see if the turbo fits. No. Damn it. All right, well, that sucks. I really want to use this Turbonetics turbo. It is freshly rebuilt. I mean, I've had it for a very, very long time, but it's just been kind of sitting on the shelf. And I've used it in previous setups, but for this one, again, with the car being an iX, the all-wheel drive model, the strut towers are a little forward, so that way I just cannot do it. So I'm trying to find an exhaust housing that is smaller. So I do have this other turbo here. This is a T66, but the AR on the exhaust is a 68. I really want to go with an 82 or a 84, but I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. But most importantly, I just want to get the car running and driving. But again, building a car, a lot of things go wrong, a lot of things go right, but it is definitely a learning process. So, all right, just gonna have to stay on the hunt. I thought that turbo exhaust housing was gonna fit, but it doesn't. All right, guys, we just got another turbine housing in the mail. So hopefully this one fits. If it doesn't, then honestly, I'm not sure what to do. So this one, it's a P trim. So it's a little bigger than the other one that I had. It definitely feels a little heavier too, so. All right. Come on, baby, I think it might fit. Well, pretty sure it's gonna fit on the turbo manifold. But again, I'm not sure if it's gonna fit on the actual turbo. Ooh, it works. Let's go. All right. Now, let's see if it fits on the actual turbo. All right, guys, moment of truth. Here we go. You guys think it's gonna fit? I hope it does. Bro! Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Look at that. Finally. Oh yeah, we are good. We are good to go. Check it out. Perfect. All right. So stoked. All right, so next up I need to change out the differential. So I did just order a 293 limited slip, and the one that's in this car is a 391. So the gearing is much different on the ZF transmission compared to the Getrag 260 that comes with the E30. So if I was to use the 391 with the ZF transmission, my RPM is gonna be higher. And if I use the 293, then I'll be at a more reasonable RPM that I can have longer gears rather than super short fast gears. And if you saw my last video, you guys saw me install the new subframe with all the bushings and everything. So I did put the old diff back on there just to rise it up and get it into position. So it's just 4 bolts. I'm gonna take it out and then patiently wait for the new diff to come in. So actually there is 5 bolts. I forgot about this one here. So there's 1 here and then 4 at the top. So I'm just gonna loosen up this one so that way it does have some support. I'll loosen up the top and then I'm gonna put the jack under it so that way I can just take it out while it's still being supported. And these are 19mm bolts. So I do have to use a cinder block because my car is on the wheel cribs and my jack doesn't go high enough to support it. So it's a little sketchy, but it'll work. Just enough to take the pressure off to pull out this one. And then we get 2 in the back to loosen up. And she's ready to come out. Alright, uno. Alright. Now she's ready to come down. Well, that's one way to get it out. I knew that was going to be a little sketchy. Going in will be way easier. All right, the diff has arrived. Let's open it up. Got a box inside of a box. Yeah, this thing had to be packaged very well because it's really heavy. How about we just roll it on? That's easier. Alright, and here are the differentials side by side. The one on the left is the one that's out of my car. So it is a 391 limited slip. And then this one here, this is a 293. So I'm going with a 293, and I just have to remove this case here because I do have this solid diff mount there, and then this one's just a factory one. So I'm just going to switch out the covers and be ready to install. Alright, first off we're going to drain the diff. I already did crack this nice and loose. So this is the one out of my car, and the oil should be pretty clean because it was fairly new. Not sure if you guys have ever smelled gear oil before, but it smells absolutely horrible. Now we're good to take the case off. We have 8 bolts here, and these bolts are 17 millimeter. Alright, and she's ready to come off. And voila. If you guys didn't know, that's what it looks like inside of a differential. Alright, let's open up the new one. And I believe the guy did say he was shipping it with no oil in it. So let's see. Alright, perfect. Nothing to drain here. Just gotta pop off the cover. Alright, looks pretty good. Alright, so we got the diff all painted and cleaned up, as you guys can see here. I spent a good amount of time doing it, came out pretty good. And I did order a bunch of gaskets as well as a few parts. So I ordered gaskets for the end caps, but I'm not even going to touch those. I'm going to leave those as is, because later on I'm going to add some racing diff clutch packs. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to run the differential as is, see how it works, and then later on if I need to, I will upgrade. But that is something that's going to come in the future. Honestly, I just want to get the car running and driving, and we're getting pretty close. So I'm going to run it as is and see how it goes. So this is the old speed sensor bracket. Pretty rusty, pretty crusty. So we got a new one here. We'll be replacing that. And yeah, so alright, let's get to work. Alright, we got some new crush washers here. That's the old one. Here we have the new one. Oh, this one's actually broken. Check it out. Yeah, this one actually broke. And the new one. And now I can torque these down. Again, these are a 17 millimeter socket, and these are going to 34 foot-pounds. Also, the oil plug gets torqued down to 41 foot-pounds. I'm just going to leave this one loose because I still have to fill it, and I'm going to wait until it's in the car to fill it. Alright, we are back with the sketchy center block, but I can promise you it's going to be a lot easier going in than it was taking this thing out, because it literally fell out before, but no worries. Yeah, that is so sketchy. Sometimes you gotta just do what you gotta do to get the job done. Well, alrighty guys, another episode in the books. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Definitely let me know down below what you guys like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of. And so next up we do have the intercooler piping, we have the exhaust, and then also the ECU. So stay tuned for those. That'll be coming up in another video. But again, really stoked for the build, and it's been a long time since I've worked on my cars, and as you guys can see, my Camaro is up there doing a wheelie. But yeah, I love cars, I truly love them, but since I moved down to Florida in 2018, I didn't have anything. So again, I towed the car down here about a year and a half ago, and then just started working on it. I'd say maybe it's been like 4 or 5 months since I've been working on it. So a lot of work has been going into this car, and I'm very, very excited to drive it. And I'm really hoping to be able to drive it before my birthday. So my birthday is on July 29th. So we have about a month. So stay tuned for more videos coming soon. And again, if you guys are enjoying, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.